Hello, Bernina Jeff here at High Fashion Sewing Machines. I am going to show you when you open up a brand new walking foot for a Bernina. This is the number 50 foot. This is what it looks like inside the box. And the main walking foot is right here. I have a new system of holding my camera on my chest so I can kind of work my hands to show you that your walking foot has a fork on it, and this fork has to be attached to the area where your needle screw is, and then the top, there's a little groove in the brand new ones, so when you raise your presser foot to the highest place, the groove slides right in there. You can raise another 2 millimeters by using your freehand system or that knee lifter, so that gets it on there. And I looked at YouTube this morning to see if anybody did a how to maintain your walking foot on YouTube. I didn't see any, so that's why I'm doing this YouTube today. So one thing I did learn is when you do install it on your machine, there must be 20 or 30 how to put your walking foot on the machine. Take the needle off. It'll make it a lot easier. So I'm going to show you how to keep your walking foot from squeaking. Every year or two, you need to take it apart and oil it. I charge $15 for a walking foot tune-up. But there's one thing I want to recommend to everyone is when you get the 3-soled walking foot, there's a stitch in the ditch walking foot. It's really nice. It has this spring-loaded guy on there, but it has a screw on the side. Please don't ever touch that screw. If you take that screw apart, it'll literally explode on you because it's holding a spring and a washer, and it's a mess. I've had 5 or 6 customers bring me this in a Ziploc baggie, and I have to go get another foot to see how to put it back together. It's a mess. So that's not the screw you use when you change the foot. When you're changing the sole plate on the walking foot, see that silver screw right there? They give you a screwdriver, and you use that right there, and you lefty-loosey about 3 or 4 turns, and this guy will flop right off. I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm actually looking through my camera. 3 or 4 turns, and that's nice, and I don't get it all the way loose. I get it to where it's just kind of snugly loose. I guess that's a new term. And then I'll go find my new parts. I'm going to use the stitch in the ditch foot. And then you bring it around. There's a hole on one side. There's 2 holes on the other side. You kind of work it in carefully. It's better to work it in with a little pressure than to have it too loose. If it's too tight, this one's too tight. So I'm going to go lefty-loosey again. Another turn. Did I go lefty-loosey? I went righty-tighty. So I'm going to go lefty-loosey a little bit. It's good to make mistakes on the video because, you kind of know what's going on then. Now I can line all these guys up. There's 2 holes lined up there. There's 2 holes lined up there. I'm going to righty-tighty this screw. Sorry. There we go. And see, that's not quite in there, but I'm just going to use a little force, snap it in there. And I always want to check to make sure that foot has a little bit of swing to it, but not too much that it's all over the place. So I just exchanged the foot. Now, I'm going to show you how to oil this. You can save $15 or more, depending upon your dealer. Walking feet need to be oiled and maintained every 2 to 10 years. We have a walking foot class in my store, and I walk through the class and I hear 2 or 3 of these squeaking, so I actually say, those need maintained, so I'll maintain them while they're in class, and then they can continue sewing. Well, there's only 1 screw here. How do I get that apart? Well, easiest way, leave that screw tight. So you want to make sure this is righty-tighty, and it is. and use a screwdriver they give you. Now I'm going to put my fingernail underneath the edge. See this little edge of the plastic? I'm going to pry this fingernail open, or if you want to, you can put the screwdriver in there. That'll save your fingernail, your manicure, you know. Those things are expensive these days, right? So I'm going to slide that cover off. Look, the cover comes right off. And sometimes, if it's been a while, there may be some icky oil on this. I've done some of these that are 20, 30 years and never been opened. So you imagine what's in there. So the silver screw, leave it alone. Don't touch it. That's only on the new ones. And the older ones have black screws, and I would recommend not doing this over shag carpeting, Berber carpeting. You want to do something over a place where if you drop the screw, you're not going to lose it. Because if you lose the screw that's holding all this together, you are going to be very sad because they don't sell these separately. You're going to maybe buy a whole new walking foot, or you just really got to be careful. So if you don't feel like you're comfortable doing this, take it to your dealer. You can literally send this to me at jpvlefty@aol.com. I will do this for you. It'll cost about $5 each, maybe $7.50 each way for shipping. So whatever, plus I'll charge you $15 to do it. Now, I am going to remove these two screws, and it's so much easier having this camera holder, because I have two hands on my project. And again, I don't want to lose that screw. I have this really cool system in my downstairs workbench. I have a trough here that's magnetic, so I'm going to put that screw in the magnetic trough. I think I should patent that and sell it. Now I'm taking this screw out. This one on the back side is really long, so you'll unscrew it and then nothing's moving. So then take your fingernails and pull it out. See how long that guy is? Skinny. Now this plate comes off. You can't mess this up. One plate fits on the other side, and you can't mess it up. So don't worry. Everything I'm showing you here, I wouldn't open this up if I didn't think you were capable of doing this. Oh, look. Now the foot came off, the sole. The new ones, the new, geez, I lost the word. The new walking feet, these little rollers, they stay on. The old ones, they slide off. So you want to make sure they go on the same way. So those rollers actually roll on the top of this little base here. Now look what's in there. There's a spring, and there's things that move back and forth. So everything that moves back and forth, you want to oil. Now this fork slides right out. See that fork and that little pin on the end? I've seen these things freeze up because they were so dry that that little pin broke off inside there. So I have to replace the fork. These things run about $175 to $200 from Bernina because they are repairable and they have repairable parts. So if you break your walking foot, don't throw it away. Send it to me, I'll fix it, or take it to your dealer and they can fix it. So see that pin that goes in there? That's the culprit. That's what gets dry. So if you have the oil that has yellow cap, that's recommended. But if all you have is the red cap oil or the pen that you have on your 7 or 8 series, you can use it. So I'm going to go ahead. I have a section of oil over here, and I'm just going to use my yellow capped oil. This is the same price as the red cap oil. It's a little heavier oil, so it lasts longer. So I'm going to put a little drip in there, and make sure I got it in the right place. I'm going to put a drip on that shaft, and you put it back in that hole, kind of wiggle it in there. Then you lower this little arm there, and then the whole thing fits back into place. If you don't lower that arm, it won't fit back into place. Okay? Now this is working, so when I push it up and down, that actually, the feed dog connector goes up and down. Now, there's this little pivot point there I'm going to oil. Okay? See how good this oiler works? Pivot point there. pivot point there, pivot point there. And then these little rollers, if they come off, clean them out really good. If they don't, it's okay. You just put some oil like I'm doing right now, and it'll just disappear. It goes inside the shaft there. Now, when I test this out after I've fixed it, I don't put it on my best satin fabric or something like that. It's going to make a really bad stain on it. Just use a little sample fabric. Now, we're going to reassemble. I'm going to show you the tips to reassemble this. It's not hard at all. So, there's two sides. You can't mess it up. One side fits there. And I'm going to put remember, the long screw went to the back, the short screw went to the front. So I'm going to put the short screw in, and this is where you need to have a little patience and dexterity. You get that little short screw kind of centered in there a little bit. Don't do this after too many glasses of wine. And then you have to straighten that screw up and get them started. And again, don't do this over shag carpeting. I got them started. And again, you can see this is not a hard process. I wouldn't call it a simple process. But now the arm just fell off, so I'm going to put that back on. I want to make sure that's in place because I slid that down, I slid that down. Now I'm going to put the other cover on. And again, it only fits one way. Remember that little lefty-loosey screw I showed you about earlier? That goes right on there. You don't have to even mess with him. And there's no screws on this side. So I am going to flip them over, and the long screw goes right in here. Putting that screw in there. Then you finagle that back side over and around. And now that screw, he could be black, so it doesn't care what color it is. It's all put back together, except the sole. You can put the sole on just like I showed you earlier. I'm going to just save time. You go, well, I'm going to do it here anyway. So I'm going to go lefty-loosey. So this is actually torquing that side open a little bit. So now this foot will fit in there, and I'm lining up the holes there. Lining up there. I'm going to go righty-tighty. You can't see because you can trust me, I'm going righty-tighty. And if your dealer is out of these, I have plenty of stock. So there's righty-tighty. Now I'm putting on the floor, on the surface, and I'm making sure that everything is working right. This thing's going back and forth and lift it up. Everything looks good. Now, we're going to put the plastic cover back on. And you get to that little pin, or that righty-tighty, lefty-loosey screw. Lift it up a little bit. And then just keep pushing on that cover till he snaps into place. It's kind of a tight fit, as you can tell. So, I didn't get it right the first time. Everything's got to fit right, and then it snaps into place. See, that screws in the center there, your gauge and everything. So we're good to go. That's how you tune up your own walking foot, and the whole idea is keep on sewing. So if your walking foot's squeaking, or if it's really stiff and not going up and down, you can do this yourself. Other models all have similar places to work on, so you can do this. And if you have any questions, you can call the store, 970-256-1293. And the best way to contact Bernina Jeff is at his AOL site. I answer every single one. It's J as in Jeff, P as in Peter, V as in Victor, L-E-F-T-Y, like lefty, because I'm left-handed, at AOL.com. So jpvlefty at AOL.com, and I will respond to that. Thank you very much. Enjoy your sewing.